somebody pretty, I can make you believe it.
Hi everybody, my name's Bruce from Recovery 101 Radio. Today we're having another one of our wonderful war stories. As you all know, war stories, we all love them. We've all lived them. Today we're going to talk about Humboldt tripping. Now, Humboldt tripping is, I went to go on a trip with my friend Tom. Now, Tom and I were going to Northern California to a small town called Arcata, California. Now, if you don't know where Arcata, California is, it looks a lot like the town from Back to the Future. It really does. It's got like that town square and all that. That's in a county in Northern California called, it's called Humboldt. Now, Humboldt is an area in what they call the Emerald Triangle. The Emerald Triangle is where they grow all these green, sticky, crystally, goopily buds. Ugh, good stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to go up there and we're going to pick up a lot of marijuana. And, I'm going to drive up there with my friend Tom. We got this brand new Turbo 2 RX-7. We're going to drive up there. It's going to be great. And we go up there and everything goes uneventful. We find, I see more buds than I've ever seen in my life. Just keeping gobs of weed. What you do to bring weed down from there is you take it and you put it in a seal meal, and it seals it all up. And then they have these big spaghetti things, like this big, full of melted wax, paraffin. And that you put like whatever the cologne du jour was. I think back then it was like Polo or something. From Ralph Lauren Polo for all your weed, smuggling operations. So anyway, you take this shrink-wrapped weed and you put it in this wax, and then you shrink-wrap it again, you put it in wax again, and then you put it in these big Ziplocs. And in this Turbo 2 RX-7 weed, right behind the seats, they have these compartments that open up, and you could fit a few pounds in there. So we're coming back. We've got this great trip, and I'm in this fast car, and I'm cooking along the highway, and I look in my rearview mirror. There's the highway patrol. Of course. Now, I have a little bullet. You remember a bullet was the thing? You turn it like this, like cocaine. You turn it. No. You have to have that on a long drive. I've got that in my pocket. Now, we get pulled over, and my friend Tom is freaking out. He's over in the passenger seat like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And the cop walks up to the window, and I look over at him, and I'm like, hello. He goes, do you have any idea how fast you were going? I said, I don't know, 55, 60. And he looks at me and he goes, you dropped down to about 85 through that construction zone back there. As a matter of fact, I caught you on radar probably 7 miles back, and I'm just catching you now. And I'm like, oh man. So he goes, let me see your license. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because I know something my friend doesn't know. My license is all screwed up. If I told him my license was screwed up, he wouldn't have let me come. So it clearly, as a dope fiend alcoholic I am, I don't say anything to him. Cop comes back, going like this. Mr. Burnett, seem to have some problems with your license. I look up, I'm like, oh yeah? And right then, like out of nowhere, comes this God shot, be honest. I don't know what would possess me to do this. I really don't. I look up, and he goes, we got some problems with your license. And I looked at him, and I said, yeah, I do. And he goes, oh. He goes, do you know that you have 2 warrants out for your arrest for unpaid speeding tickets? And I look at him, and I go, yeah, I am. Yeah, I knew that. Yep. My friend Tom is like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, I knew that. And he goes, okay. He goes, do you know on top of the 2 warrants that your license has been suspended as a result of non-payment of the warrants? And I'm like, yeah, I knew that too. Yeah. Tom is just like having a heart attack. He's just like, oh my God, I got pounds and pounds of weed in my car. Oh my God. And then the cop looks at me and he goes, do you know that on top of that, your license expired last month on your birthday? And I said, yeah, I knew that. I knew that too. Now you got to remember, the cop has not asked me to step out of the car yet. And the cop looks at me and he goes, well, and instant, I'm dope fiend. I go into story mode. It's like, he's going to give me a chance to explain. So I tell the cop, I said, DMV told me that they sent the money for the warrants, that the warrants, when the warrants got lifted, the suspension would be lifted. So I sent checks for the warrants before we left on our little fishing vacation here. And the cop goes, okay. And he goes, so you paid for the warrants? I said, yes. He goes, what about the suspension? I said, well, they told me once the warrants were paid, the suspension would be lifted. And he goes, okay. Mr. Burnett, what about the expired license? I said, well, they wouldn't let me renew it because the license was suspended. And he looks at me and he goes, okay. He writes me a ticket for like 74 miles an hour, so like 1 mile an hour below the reckless driving thing, and immediately starts talking about how cool Tom's brand new Turbo 2 RX-7, one of the first in the country, looked. You got to let your friend Tom drive the rest of the way home, and you go over in the passenger seat. And I got to tell you, we're driving away. And Tom is like driving. He's looking at me. He's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? And I'm like, well, if I told you I had problems with my license, you wouldn't let me come. And he's like, you never come with me again. And that, my friends, is the story of Humboldt tripping.
Take a fight with somebody twice your size. Well, I've been known to cause a few breakups, and I've been known to cause a few births. Well, I can make you new friends or get you fired from work.